Okay. All right. All right. We're ready. What's up, man? How you doing, bro?
Doing my best, and that's the best you can do.
I feel
you. Doing all right?
Yeah, I'm doing all right, bro. I'm doing all right.
Okay, so with today, you wanted to talk about specifically the anti-tunnel topic, correct?
Yeah, anti-tunneling is fine. Yep.
So with the anti-tunnel topic in particular, what was the thing that you wanted to define that as particularly? Because if we're going to talk back and forth about it, it's probably good that we get the firm definition out of the way of what we're referring to.
Okay. Anything that makes it more difficult for a killer to hook you back to back. So, like, basically anything that makes it take longer for a killer to hook you back to back. Any tool that you can utilize that makes it just harder or more difficult. Basically, that's what my definition of anti-tunneling is. Anything.
And I believe that also with that, it's probably important that we also define what our version of tunneling is as well, because I know the community has vastly different ideas of what that is.
Okay. My definition of tunneling is the killer makes it a point to specifically go for you once you've been unhooked. So, like, he doesn't even try to go after anyone else. He locks eyes with you, and he just goes after you. That's what my definition of tunneling is.
Yeah, going for that straight 3 hooks on that specific person without interest of going after other people.
Yes.
Okay, so one of the things I've always found like really interesting about your entertainment and your takes is that like you play 50-50, but you generally err on the side of killers. So your takes about the anti-tunnel situation are very like there's ways around it. There's a lot of like leeway of what people can do. So what is your position on anti-tunneling?
I think the tools and the totality that we have in Dead by Daylight, the totality of the tools that we have right now in Dead by Daylight, I think they're fine. Now, I whatever you want to say about them, they're not too weak. Basically, I think they're fine. Would I be mad if they buffed the buff DS to 5 seconds? No, I wouldn't. But right now, I think they're fine. And I take that from the experience that I have as playing Survivor and from going against other survivors. Like, I'm able to utilize those tools very well, and people that I go against are able to utilize those tools very well. Like, basically, if you're skilled enough in Dead by Daylight, if you have enough skill, you can use the tools at your disposal very effectively. Basically, that's my standpoint on anti-tunneling. So, like, whatever you want to say is it's not too weak. I can't call it too weak, since I use it effectively and the people I go against use it effectively. Basically.
Okay, so with this, we're going to be more focusing on not like whether tunneling or anti-tunnel should be strong or weak, but like, is it just the factual objectivity? Is it weaker or is it not? So I always err on the side that like anti-tunnel is more weak than it's probably ever been in the game, and I do think that to a certain extent that is a benefit because it used to be like overpowered with like old DS Unbreakable where there was a lose-lose situation.
Yeah.
I do think that a lot of the main tools that survivors used to use in order to prevent tunneling, such as decisive strike, even new off the record, are not sufficient in truly stopping a tunneling experience from happening to you, or at least buying enough time that the rest of your team can 2 gens and consistently get out if you're being tunneled, which I think is a big aspect of anti-tunnel. Is like I don't think we're going to be able to ever pervasively stop tunneling from happening unless behavior literally makes a mechanic to stop tunneling from happening, like the anti-camp. But the benefit is that we should be able to run not a full build, but at least some perks that if they decide to do that 3 back-to-back hook thing, that our team can at least get some gens out and potentially win the game as a punishment for, hey, I'm going to try to essentially play what is a comp form of the game at like 5 generators.
Yeah. Okay.
And I do not think that like stuff like decisive and off the record, even like second wind you mentioned, is enough for someone to buy enough time for at least like 2 or 3 gens to get done, which would be like game deciding.
So my stance on that is it isn't just limited to only decisive striking off the record, in my opinion. So, for example, when you get off the hook as a survivor, you get a speed boost, and if the killer comes and he hits you, you get a speed boost on top of that. So, like, let's say, for example, you run sprint burst. If you run sprint burst on top of the speed boost you get off the hook, on top of the killer hitting if they're hard tunneling you, and on top of sprint burst, you can legitimately, like no exaggeration, you can go across the entire map, like halfway across the entire map in just that time alone. And if you run just in a straight line, you can make a lot of distance and save a lot of time as a survivor if you're running those perks. And in conjunction with understanding how to loop, understanding tiles, I think that you can make great use out of things that aren't categorically speaking anti-tunneling perks, in my opinion. It just all comes down to, in my opinion, the skill of the survivor. Of course, RNG, but RNG, you know, it affects everybody in Dead by Daylight. But it just specifically comes down to the skill of the survivor. And if you're skilled enough, you can use, you know, sprint burst. You can use Dead Hard as an anti-tunneling tool. You can, because this is basically just anything that buys you time that you can extend chases. You can use styptics, anti-syringes, or syringes in your medkits. You can use things like that, and you can just make use of the tools at your disposal. So I guess in the anti-tunneling video that I did, I tried to convey that anti-tunneling shouldn't just be limited to off the record decisive strike, if that makes any sense. Basically,
yeah, and it shouldn't be. And I think on the same like vein is like being required to run like a lot of perks just to not, because like a killer could bring that strategy into any game, no perks required. But from the survivor end, there's a lot of perks required to defend that. And the reason that like the other half of your argument was something I remember that was something I disagreed with, was because of that RNG factor that even you brought up. Let's take an example of a map like Wretched Shop. Wretched Shop, if you didn't know, has one of the most varied pallet spawn rates in the game. It can spawn as low as 8 and only as high as 16. So sometimes, yeah, in your situation, your example, you come off hook, good looper starts getting tunneled, homie's going to find like 3 different pallets to loop. But then on a completely different version of this map, the exact same map, RNG may have no pallets on that entire area because it can spawn as low as 8. So, like, is that RNG aspect something that is important to you in this discussion, or is it something that, like, we shouldn't consider? Because sometimes, no matter how skilled you are, map RNG can just kind of, like, hose you entirely, and it doesn't matter how good you are. So that's not... to me, that doesn't sound like something that's a solid anti-tunnel tool for the survivors. Is just be a good looper, because especially with a map like Wretched Shop, sometimes RNG just says no, you can't.
The problem with that is I can make an argument that if I'm a killer and you get off the hook and you're in like a really good area of the map or on a really good map, you can just shit on me with the anti-tunneling tools you have because of how good the map is. So the reason I say that RNG affects us all, I didn't really want to discuss RNG too much because it just affects everybody, right? So what I want to lean more into the skill of Dead by Daylight. And also, if we're discussing RNG, I do believe that there are more survivor-sided maps in this game than there are killer-sided maps. So even if we were discussing RNG would lean in favor towards the survivors, in my opinion, since there are more survivor-sided maps in Dead by Daylight than killer-sided maps. So with RNG, I don't generally want to include that in my argument if I'm talking about anti-tunneling, because RNG just it affects everybody. And even if you thought that it didn't affect everybody in the same way, you would have to lean the RNG, in my opinion, to the survivor side, in my opinion.
More often than not, yes. It's I brought it up because because one of your anti-tunnel tools that the survivors have, in your opinion, is that if they're good enough at looping, they can just make it work, or at least use an exhaustion perk to get to somewhere where it works. But sometimes the map RNG will leave you without resources to do that. Killers can also do a lot, and I know because I do it. Is like intentionally hook somebody in dead zones. So like even if they do get off, it's like we were either already kicked that pallet over there, or there just wasn't a pallet over there to begin with, so they don't have anything to do. So that does make that other aspect, that tool of just being a good looper, way weaker, whether that be through RNG or the killer specifically putting you in a dead zone or an area where they've kicked a lot of pallets. So it makes that tool not as available to you consistently as the survivor, was my point.
Yeah, and I guess my point is this: it would either be a wash because RNG affects everybody, or it would have to lean in favor to survivors, in my opinion. I didn't mention that it leaned in favor to survivors in my video. I just mentioned that it would have to be a wash since RNG affected everybody, right? That's what I mentioned in my video.
So I think one thing that I'm interested specifically that now that we can just talk back and forth about it instead of just like dropping ideas at each other,
Yeah.
is like, do you think that you should have to run like a full perk loadout to avoid being tunneled, or do you think you should be able to run like 1 or 2 perks just in case, and that's good enough?
Ideally, you should only be able to. You should only have to run 1 or 2 perks, and that's good enough. Ideally, off the record, decisive strike, in my opinion, are adequate enough. They're not too weak. But ideally, if we wanted the best balance for the game, this is getting to dangerous territory. Whenever you start talking about base kit shit, ideally, ideally, we should. Man, I'm scared to say this. Ideally, we should have something like base kit decisive strike. Ideally, because that would make it to where like running decisive strike or off the record wasn't like obligatory. That would or it would make it to where people didn't feel like they were obligated to run those 2 perks. Ideally, now I understand that you can't really do that. There are a lot of things that would have to change for you to do that. But ideally speaking, it would be nice to get to a point in Dead by Daylight where you didn't have to run like an anti-tunneling perk. But the thing is, if you don't want something to happen to you as easily as either side, like for example, we're talking about anti-tunneling, but let's go back to the killer side and say you didn't want to get gen rushed. You have to go into the game, anticipating that you'll be gen rushed. So you have to run maybe 1 or 2 gen regression perks. Same thing with tunneling. You have to go into the game anticipating, okay, this killer might beat my ass at 1 gen, or not 1 gen, at 5 gens, and then tunnel my ass out of the game. I should probably go in and slap on some decisive strikes off the record. Ideally, we want to get to a point where we don't have to do that, don't have to rely on perks like that. But, until we do, it's just something we're going to have to do.
Yeah, and that was something that I thought was very interesting that was brought up by Scott Junn today, having to do with like win streak specifically, was that you have to bring these really obnoxious builds and use these really obnoxious playstyles, because 2 out of 100 teams you're going to run into are going to be that comp 4-man running all the right perks, whereas like the other 98 out of the 100 are going to be like, how did he phrase it? It was like Shaq or Michael Jordan against middle school basketball players.
Yeah.
So like, tunneling is a strategy killers always have available to them, but unless you equip the right perks as Survivor, it's not like anti-tunnel defense is not something that's always available to you as Survivor. So that's a discrepancy, which something like a base kit weak DS would fix.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, if we want to go away from those perks, there would have to be a lot of things that had to change with Dead by Daylight. For like a big one is the RNG that we've been talking about. Ideally, we would want every single realm in the game to be as balanced as McMillan is. Every single one. If we're gonna start talking about like base kit DS or base kit off the record, I don't think they base kit off the record might be pushing it. But base kit DS, things of that nature, we'd have to have every realm be as balanced as McMillan is. And until we get to that point, we can't do anything with the base kit decisive strike. And I believe that the devs, correct me if I'm wrong, but in the past they did mention something about they were thinking about base kit decisive strike. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I believe that was one of the things that they were trying to work on, was some sort of anti-tunnel, but it's one of those things that like comes up, goes away, comes up, goes away. It's trying to implement some sort of mechanic like that. And they'd been doing that with the anti-camp forever too, but that actually came through.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Decisive Strike is listed as a change for this year. So I don't know if they're affecting the perk directly or if they're introducing something else, but we'll see, I suppose.
What do you think is going to happen with it?
The easy Band-Aid fix, which is what Behavior is unfortunately known for, is to just rebuff DS, which is probably what's coming.
Yeah.
Like you said, I feel like the smart idea would be to like change DS into something else that fits the movie it's from, and then just make a weaker form of DS base kit.
Yeah. That a
lot of people are like. Yeah, a lot of people are like, well, DS is super weak, it doesn't really help you. But if you take that and just transfer that to something that's just a mechanic that survivors can do in their kit, but it's really weak, you're like, oh, okay, well, it shouldn't be that strong because everybody can do it.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, I hope they don't do anything dumb with DS, because if it was just a simple number value change, you would think they would. You would think they would have done it already if they were just buffing it back up to 5 seconds or buffing up to 4 seconds or whatnot. So I'm hoping they don't just change the entire functionality of perk or something ridiculous like that. Hopefully it is, if they do something with it, hopefully it is just a simple numbers buff. Hopefully it is.
My idea was always that with like decisive strike, my problem, like you can keep the stun 3 seconds, but like if you notice when you stun somebody with DS, you don't have full mobility of your character for like a full second. Just have you the moment you drop be able to move, and then it's fine.
Yeah, like old balance landing used to be where there's no stagger. Yeah, yeah, that would be nice. That would be a nice change. That would be a nice change. So what else like you want to keep talking about anti-trolling, or go to like how Dead by Daylight is balanced, like if it's balanced for like higher tier players or mid tier players or low tier players, casuals?
I feel like generally what they do is they output content for everyone, because as much as people like you and I who are like very aggressively into the game, make content for the game and do that, like how much we like create a wider community for the game, we technically don't pay the bills. The casual players do, so they release stuff for the casual base and then balance it based on us, if that makes sense. I somewhat do believe that Dead by Daylight is balanced somewhat around the highest level because of things like old Dead Hard. I know I mentioned this in my other video, but old Dead Hard, if every survivor was using Dead Hard, like the lower tier survivors, like they're out in the open, they're like basically locking eyes with you with a big ass neon sign above their head that says, "Hey, I have Dead Hard," and they Dead Hard and they get like 2 seconds of time save and they get down. If everyone was using Dead Hard like that, they would have never nerfed that perk. Just like old Circle of Healing. If everyone didn't understand the value that you got with essentially infinite med kits, I don't think they would have nerfed that perk. But the problem is that it was just way too strong at the highest level. So I do think that they somewhat balanced Dead by Daylight around the highest level. I do think that. I know a counter argument you would make was probably like back in 2020 or 2019 when they nerfed Ruin for the first time. Well, they changed Ruin. They didn't really nerf it, but they changed it to where it wasn't red skill checks and you didn't have to hit gray skill checks for a gen to progress. I guess an argument you would make is, well, if they did bounce around the highest level, then they would have kept that in the game because, just get good and hit your skill checks. But I do think that even despite things like that, they do balance Dead by Daylight around the highest level, in my opinion. Like I said, I think it's like it's a mixture of both. I think they release it.
Yeah.
They release it for the casual audience, because if a perk is broken initially, a lot of people are buying that chapter, that character. Like so many people have. I bet so many people have Gabe and don't play him anymore because they only got him for the teachable made for this.
Yeah,
and
that's what
it doesn't matter that they nerfed it. Like Behavior made their money; they got their bag for that.
Yeah,
and now us who play at the higher level, now we're happy because they finally nerfed it, and they already made their money off of it having a bad meta for that for a while. Yeah, so I think it's calculated.
Yeah, I do as well. That's They do that a lot where they release a killer that's really, really good. Like with Alien. They did that shit with Alien. They fucking they nerfed Alien when as soon as she came out, like from the PTB. I think like day one they nerfed her really soon thereafter she came out, and they made her tail a little worse. You would probably know more about that than I do, because you're.
What happened was there was kind of a trade-off that we got. So the movement speed penalty for missing a tail attack was made worse, which it should be, because that thing was just busting dumb. But we, as a trade, we got flame turrets are no longer invincible when they're in the down state, the deactivated state. So it was kind of like here, we're going to make your tail attack a little bit more fair for the survivors, but hey, your flame turrets are now weaker. So it was like a satisfy a sort of thing.
Yeah, definitely. Speaking of nerfs, I went against someone who was, I won't mention the streamer's name, but she and her chat, they were calling for Unknown to be nerfed, and they were saying he's too strong. Bro, before I go into what I need, do you think Unknown is too strong?
I think it's not even been a week since the character's been out, and I've seen people make full guides on a character that hasn't been out for a week.
Exactly.
I've seen people thinking they're OP or they're too weak. it hasn't been 7 days since the character's been released.
Exactly.
How do you know?
Exactly, bro. Like, man, in my opinion, nothing really needs to happen to the unknown. Unknown is fine right now, in my opinion. Only thing I would like to see is you don't reveal him, like, quote unquote reveal him and get your weakness away through walls. But that's in the game with Ghostface as well. That's just a spaghetti code issue. Dude, these people are like calling for Unknown to have his teleport removed because it's too much for him. I'm just like, okay, come on, bro. Come on, man.
It's good to entertain the idea of, could this potentially be too strong, or could this potentially be too weak, and kind of like start thinking about it. But to very decisively, it's like what we discussed in like in one of your react videos to my reacts, was like, we got to be careful about being like, this is objectively the case versus like, I think this is the case, because like them saying this is objectively OP, he needs a nerf, with definitive like statement, that you can't know that yet, but you can start thinking like, I'm thinking maybe this guy needs a nerf, but I'm not sure yet. Like that, it's important to make that distinction, and nobody does.
Yeah, definitely. Where do you think is going to be on the tier list, or where do you have him on the tier list right now?
I think he's going to be kind of like Larry, where nobody's really going to, well, not nobody, but like, you know, a lot of people are going to play him at a very rudimentary level and be like, he's only B or C tier. But then there's going to be like streamers and like comp players that are like, wait a minute, and then like get the most out of him, and then somebody's like an A tier.
Yeah, I think in my opinion right now where he is high B tier, high B tier. I would put him, if we're considering his add-ons. Shit, he's fucking creeping into the A tier if we're considering his add-ons. But like just base kit, Unknown, I think he's high B tier in my opinion. His map traversal is very good. His anti-loop is very, very, very good. When people learn how to use his UVX, that shit's gonna be scary in my opinion.
The only characters that can hit through walls are Nurse, Pyramid Head, and Artist, which are all 1 to top 10 characters in the game. So another character that can hit through walls alone puts them way higher. The problem with Unknown is the time sync problem that Nemesis has, where they have to infect before they hit, because Unknown does have to do that. And unlike Nemesis, you don't have to go find a box, go find a vaccine, and vaccinate yourself. You can just stare at him and undo it right away. So it's a very like hard time sync for him, and like we were talking about, like with skill you will be able to hit your shots, stay out of sight, hit the next shot quick enough that like them removing it doesn't matter. But I feel like the general player population, that time sync's gonna be really rough, and you're gonna get revealed a lot before you can get your second hint. I've seen
that as playing. I've been playing as him primarily for like the past 4 or 5, ever since he's been out pretty much. And the worst thing ever is just getting revealed behind walls. So I've been playing as him a lot. But he's a very well designed killer, man. He really is. He's probably my favorite. Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know why they decided to take the Ghostface reveal mechanic that everybody already like mutually agreed was just busted and not functional, and apply it to another killer.
Yeah. You would think they would fix that shit first before they slapped on another killer. You would think they would, but you know. It's his behavior we're talking about.
Behavior interactive.
Definitely. Anything else? I'm down to discuss whatever. Anything else?
I think just the final thoughts on the Unknown. I think it's one of those things that it's really hard to understand the character. And for people should really like hold off on making any judgments for positive or negative on the character, because like even just yesterday for me, I was like doing testing, trying to figure out how this character works, and it's like instant explosion on the UVX in corners, on the floor, everything else it's a skip, but to a ricochet or whatever you want to call it to get your hit. So it's just like there's still people discovering this stuff day by day. So like I wish people would just hold off on making opinions on something too quickly. I know why, because it's just like, especially for content creators, you want to have the first thing out, you want to have the best thing, the first thing. But it's not factual and it's not good. It doesn't help the community at all.
Yeah, definitely. And I just especially don't want a character to be nerfed when they're, because in my opinion, from an opinion standpoint, he's my favorite killer since Dredge, from an opinion standpoint, and he's probably the most well designed since Singularity and Alien. Because there was a stretch there where they were coming out with these horrible killers like fucking Skull Merchant, Knight. Then they came out with fucking Chucky. God damn, I fucking hate Chucky, bro. Oh my god, holy shit. Chucky needs to be deleted.
You don't like throwing a pallet and just being beat by the spacebar?
Exactly, bro. Hey, and the crazy thing is, with these really high tier killers, like killers you would consider easy, like Chucky and Spirit, I suck at them. I suck. I am horrible. I am some cheeks at Chucky and Spirit, especially Chucky. I played him for like maybe 3 matches. I didn't even make a video about it. I played him for 3 matches. I was like, man, fuck this killer. I don't like this killer, bro. I don't like it. I don't like him. But I hate, man. I don't even know what they're gonna do with Chucky. I have no idea what you can do with him.
I can tell you why. I watch your B-roll. You want to do fun things.
Yes.
The way those characters work is just do the bullshit unfair thing.
Exactly.
Which is not as fun.
Exactly, bro. Exactly. Like when I really want to try and, like, for example, I'm trying to get down to Iridescent Rank 1 with Killer and Survivor. When I really want to try and win, I'm probably gonna play someone like fucking Hillbilly or Plague or some bullshit like that. Not fucking and Plague is she's not fun to go against, not really. But you know, when I'm trying to win, I'm not gonna play killers like that are just stupid. I'm trying to watch my mouth. I don't want to get you demonetized or anything. I'm trying to watch my mouth. I would use another word, but I'm not gonna use that word. But they're just killers that are dumb, you know. So yeah. Anything else? Like this is a very nice conversation, man. Very nice.
Mm-hmm.
And
I would say
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. One more thing, Brandon.
What's up?
Can and this is for people, you know, my viewers and maybe your viewers too. Don't call this drama. Please don't call this back and forth. No one's getting in fucking drama over Dead by Daylight, bro. No grown adults are getting in drama over Dead by Daylight. All right, it's just people who disagree about fucking anti-tunneling or gen regression. Please.
I think it's something that I need to personally work on, or at least in my delivery, is because when somebody says something very, very like aggressively biased, it's funny to me because I'm just like, wow, that was way out there, you know?
Yeah.
And I know we had that discussion on like, you know, entertainment and hamming it up and stuff like that. But like, you know, as a result, like some things come off like genuinely funny to me. It's not like, wow, this guy's an idiot. It's just like, whoa, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
So like I laugh and giggle about it, and like I could synthesize that in a way that's better than just laughing, because to me that would be like my response if I was like hanging around with my friends, just chilling with the dudes, and somebody said something off the wall. I would laugh at them. But in an online space where there's a lot of eyes on people, and like the drama thing that you said, like a lot of people very much want to jump on like, oh my gosh, these guys hate each other.
It's Keemstar bullshit culture.
Gotta make it very, very aggressively clear that like I'm laughing because of what they said and not at this person.
Yeah, and someone I don't know if that person's watching right now, but someone was like, oh, you know, he unknown, not unknown, sorry, we're talking about the fucking unknown. Brand is like a bully. Brand is like a fucking bully. Oh my god, he's bully. I'm like, bro, he's not bullying anybody. Fucking calm down, bro. He's really not bullying anybody. He's just disagreeing with people over Dead by Daylight. He's trying to entertain his audience. He's not bullying anybody. All right, relax. All right, so anyone who says that we're in drama right now, we're not in fucking drama. All right, we're not. So fucking relax. I just had to get that out there. Sorry, what were we saying? I'm sorry. I had to go off on that whole spiel.
No, that's important because, like, at the end of the day, it's just a video game. Like, when people say agree to disagree, people often try to throw that out there with very serious things.
Yeah.
But like, this is actually agree to disagree, which is like, it's just positions in a video game, perks in a video game. Like, that stuff doesn't matter. And I don't like. It doesn't matter if like you post a video that's like, wow, Brand's really dumb because he thinks this, or like I'm like, wow, I can't believe Dukhed said that about this. It's like it doesn't matter. It's just a video game at the end of the day. Like, doesn't mean you're a bad person, doesn't mean I'm a bad person. Like, I don't know.
It's just a fucking $20 PSN Steam fucking Microsoft Store game. That's all it is. All right, that's all it is. For all of y'all who think we're in drama, that's all it is, bro. That's all it is. All right. But yeah, any other topic? This is a very, very nice conversation. Any other topics, man? And you know what? And if I'm yapping, tell me. And you got other stuff to do, let me know. I know you got to get to your stream. I'm not trying to keep you here. So yeah, just let me know if I'm yapping. You like, hey, bro, I'm ducking. I'm ready to move on, bro. Just let me know, man. Let me know.
I don't stream on Sundays, so you have me as long as you need me.
Okay.
And second, I did have another collab, but like it got canceled because the homie got sick. So like, I am under no pressure to be anywhere or do anything. So you can talk about whatever, discuss whatever. I think one of the things that I wanted to just bring up just for shooting the breeze sort of thing, is like I'm trying to do like a bunch of different stuff with my channel and trying to because I'm trying to do educational content because I want people to like learn the game and get better at the game, enjoy the game. Trying to do that with like match reviews and stuff. Do the commentary stuff because that's like my main bread and butter, and that's like what you do as well. So we're in the same sphere with that. But I wanted to do the React stuff because a lot of what happens with the old commentary videos that I used to do was they would be like, okay, well, Dukhed, for example, made a video about anti-tunneling. How do you feel about it? Yeah. So what I would do in a commentary video is I end up like, hey, I'm going to discuss what this person said and basically summarize their video for like 5 minutes, and then give my take for like another 5 minutes, and that's between intro, outro, and then the video be up like 15, 20 minutes long. So it was always better to just, okay, community, what do you actually want me to see? And just give it to me. And then they vote on it and show it to me. And I go, okay, well, these are my direct feelings about it as it's happening in live time. Yeah. Instead of, trying to re-explain everything. And I know you had very, very, very passionate feelings about reaction content.
I only said that because of the things you were saying, like in terms of how I take criticism and things of that nature. That's the only reason I said that. All right, I have nothing against you as a channel or anything. That's the only reason I said that. I like to be fair. If you would have kept all the talking points Dead by Daylight, and I understand like this is bombast, this is histrionic, it's hyperbole for the camera to be more entertaining. I understand that. Yeah. We're both content creators here, we understand that. But like if the talking points had been strictly Dead by Daylight, I wouldn't have said that 4-minute thing at the end. And I really resented that I put that part of the video in there. I resented it. I mean, but I just felt it was necessary at that point. But I understand why you do the reaction videos. I do. And that is a smart way to do the videos, so that you can react to the opinions in real time. That's a smart way to do the content. It's a smart way. The only reason I said that is because of the things that I perceive to be shots at me in your reaction videos. That's the only reason I said that.
Because in that video in particular, I knew you were like going in on some like your general like comments that you were getting in your YouTube audience about like disagreeing with you a lot. And from my perspective, like it was just a bad take. It was just like a bad take that I think that a lot of the community would not agree with. That's so fair. It just kind of confused me that like the what would be the word? Just like the shock that so many people were disagreeing with you, when it was like, like my thing is always like, be as biased as you want. Like if you want to fight the killer fight, you go for it. Like your opinion still matters. And like in terms of killer changes, like even just in our discussion that we've had today, despite the fact that you err more on the killer bias side, like a lot of great ideas for the game. But that is, we still have to, address and own the biases that we have. So I think it just, and then we discussed it like both in the video and in the comments, like, well, it's part of that exaggerated for the content creation thing. So I think it was just kind of part of the entertainment aspect to just go in on those people. But that's just what confused me.
That and plus I do that a lot of, like, if I have I'm never gonna title a fucking video hot take. I think that's cringe as fuck. I'm sorry to anyone who does it, but I'm never gonna title a video hot take. But I usually put like my my overall thesis, if you will, my overall standpoint of the video, and I always state the standpoint if it's something that I perceive to be, okay, this is probably gonna be divisive. I always state it in the first 20-30 seconds, because that's for the people who like click on the video and they looked at the title, they mute my video or pause it, and they go straight to the comments and start talking shit. Or they're like 20 seconds into the video, they pause it immediately, and then they go into the comments and start talking shit. So I always, to save those people time, I say, okay, too long, don't watch. This is what I think. Go to the comment section, do whatever you need to do. Yeah, that's what I do. I'm just trying to do people favors. That's all I'm trying to do. I just want to do people favors. And now, a lot of that is exaggerated, and a lot of that is hyperbole just for agreement's sake. Like, for example, when I started my pig video off, I was like, if you disagree with me, go ahead and leave the video now and dislike the video. I said something, just that's just for a reaction though. That's just to be funny. I'm just being fucking stupid. But yeah, that's all I'm doing when I'm making statements like that. But in terms of me being biased, what I say about Dead by Daylight, it comes from experience. I know people won't be able to get the notion from watching my videos, but I do play both sides 50-50. I play Survivor just as much as I play Killer. Now, I only upload Killer gameplay usually because I fucking hate editing goddamn videos. I really can't stand it. I hate editing videos. So I usually only play or post Killer gameplay simply because it's easier. Like, the action's always there.
Yeah, you don't have to cut out like sitting on gens and stuff like that.
Exactly. So yeah, I know people may think I'm biased, but believe me, like I'm speaking from experience. Like, everything I'm saying about Dead by Daylight, everything that I discussed about the game, it comes from experience. And believe it or not, like, I used to actually be a person who thought that Dead by Daylight was killer sided. Like, for example, when I first started in 2019, 2020, and they nerfed insta heals. They nerfed the syringes and the styptics. I was like, what the fuck, bro? Why would they nerf that? That's fucking broken. They should fucking revert those shits. Nothing was wrong with it. I used to say shit like reworked Legion, like when Legion was shit. He kind of still is a little shit, but when he was really shit, I used to say he was one of the strongest, most broken killers in the game. I used to say that, like, Doctor, just because he could shock around himself and find people, was fucking too strong. But then what I did is I started playing Killer, and this was around the Doctor rework. I started playing Killer more so that I can understand how to counter Doctor. So I started playing Doctor, and I understood how to counter him in his rework. So in my opinion, if you do play one side more than the other, like you play, or one side just entirely, you need to, in order to get a better understanding as to what people go through, you should play both sides. And it'll probably make you better to whatever side you predominantly play anyway. At least that's my opinion, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that's one of the most interesting things, like, about you as a creator, is that you do play 50-50, but like you're like your standard, and you're like, what you usually push for is like make the killer roll better, or the killer roll things. You do general stuff, like, you know, talking about the like skill-based matchmaking versus the grades and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like generally you're like, you know, most of your opinions are like aiming on the killer side, and I think that's one of the things that not only me but like my community likes about your videos and is find very intriguing, is like playing 50-50 but still erring more heavily on one side, at least in terms of like positions, than others. Definitely. So like, what about the killer side like intrigues you to the point where like you are such a proponent for like defending that position?
The thing is, it's just how stressful it is to play killer. Like, for example, I'll give you an example. One time I was streaming. I was playing. Actually, no, I wasn't streaming. I was playing with my friends. We were all playing Survivor, and we were just sitting back, shooting the shit, listening to fucking podcasts, just saying, just yapping basically. And we weren't even really thinking about the game like that. And we were going against this dude who was streaming Huntress, and we were lighting his ass up. Well, I'm not gonna lie, we were lighting his ass up. It was on the lmao, and he got a 4-man out. And nobody teabagged him or anything. And he was fucking stressed. He was yelling. He was everything, right? I tend to sympathize more with killers just because of how stressful it is to play killer. Like, as a survivor, man, I'm chilling, bro. I'm over here making jokes, reading chat, and all that. I can't not be locked in as killer, or I'm going to get shit on. As survivor, I can relax. I can take it easy. But it's just how stressful, in my opinion, it is to play killer. Because killer is a lot more stressful than Survivor, in my opinion. It is. But I don't take the game as seriously, to be honest. I don't. So like when like bullshit happens to me as Survivor or as killer, I just laugh it off, saying, damn, that's tough. I play like shit. I need to get better, to be honest. But with Survivor, more so than killer, I think it's less stressful, in my opinion. And I didn't understand that until I started playing killer like fervently. Until I started playing killer, I was like, oh shit, this shit, I can't even fucking look away from this goddamn screen. I can't, man, I wish I would turn on the goddamn podcast while I'm trying to face these people. I'll get fucking lit up, blown away, routed up for 5 gens, you know? So just the stress levels, it causes me to sympathize more with killers. Just the stress levels.
What would you recommend to someone who is like who sees that role extremely stressful? Because you said like and very responsibly so was that like I probably could have played better, or maybe I should have run a stronger build or something like that in order to help mitigate that stress. What are some of the things you would recommend to somebody who views the role that stressful?
I would tell them. First of all, I would tell them, look, bro, look, I know you hate to see, I know you hate to hear this, but it is just a goddamn game, bro. And if they're teabagging you, if they're fucking flashlight clicking you, all they're doing is pressing buttons in the video game. That's all they're doing. I know it's hard to understand that in the moment, but that's all they're doing. At the end of the game, at the end of the day, it's just a game. And what I would tell them is just to be more self-reflective. Like, oh shit, I play like shit. I should have run that better. And not just blame everything on the survivors. Like, I will never, unless I'm playing a fucking hacker, I will never blame a loss on a fucking survivor. I'll never do that. I won't, because it's a skill issue. And as long as you view it as a skill issue, then you'll get better at the game. But if you, in killer or survivor, if you just say, oh damn, I only lost because they were playing force slowdown nurse. Now I understand force slowdown nurse is kind of unbeatable, but you have to still look at it like well, skill issue. I should have just played better, to be honest. Or if you're going up against a 4-stack survivor friends with 4 DSs, 4 dead hards, 4 off the records, 4 adrenalines, whatever the fuck. Ah damn, shit. They're all 5 of these gens pop, and I got 1 hook, and they're teabagging me at the gate. That's tough. I should just play better, to be honest. That's how you have to view it. You have to just view, I should have played better. That's what would help your stress levels. If you just say, "Fuck it, should have played better." In my opinion, but then again, I don't take this game that seriously. I just don't take this game that seriously. But my primary advice would be, it's just a goddamn video game. That's all it is. It's just a video game, and if it's actually stressing you to the point where you're like having a bad day, it's like ruining your day, you need to take a break from it. You need to.
Yep.
You have to do that. But yeah.
I think one of the things that I wish the general D&D community, like you said, with both sides, but killer is the more stressful of the two, so it comes on more often.
Yeah.
Is that that's something we opened the video with too? Is the RNG aspect of Dead by Daylight? Sometimes the RNG is the map. Sometimes the RNG is 4-man Swift, all really good toolboxes. Sometimes RNG is nurse with forest slowdown, but you should be trying to minimize the RNG aspect of the game as much as possible if you care about winning consistently.
Yeah, definitely. You shouldn't use RNG as a crutch to explain away if you play badly, in my opinion, because you won't improve. You won't ever improve. I could have, I could easily, and I faced some squads like that today. I could easily, oh shit, well, bad him, I lost. Well, I mean, now I do say that shit, all right? If I do get bad him as a killer, I'm like, oh shit, well, I fucking lost. But, I'm still going to try. I'm still going to fucking try and beat somebody's ass, at least. And if I'm not able to beat anyone's ass, then I'm able to get incrementally better at the game, because I'm facing people who are gods. Right? That's how I view it, bro. That's how I view it. Just always be on the lookout for self-improvement. Just always do that. Always be on the lookout for that. And I heard you used to be a teacher, bro. That's good. That's ironic. I'm a teacher. Believe it or not. Believe it or not. I'm a teacher. Yeah, man. I teach 3rd grade math and science.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, man. I appreciate that, bro. I was like, okay, he's a fellow teacher. Let me guess, you did you leave the profession? I wouldn't blame you if you did.
Yep.
Oh, shit. I'm not even surprised, bro. For profession is trash now. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I was explaining on stream literally yesterday about how teaching as a profession went from such a secure job with tenure and stuff to 1 year, 6 months contracts that you have to bust your ass to get renewed, and somebody could at least in the state that I worked in, anybody could get my job anytime my contract ended, and it was it's just not what it used to be.
Yeah, definitely. And me personally, I guess I'm a little luckier. I guess you could say that a little bit, because I'm in a state where there is a huge teacher shortage. I mean, it's like an astronomical teacher shortage. It's really bad. And I was able to get this job before I even graduated college. and it was in an entirely different. Yeah, I was in North Carolina, and now I teach in Miami. So I was able to get this job before I even graduated. That's how bad the teacher shortage was. And don't even get me started on these fucking standardized tests. Oh my god, these standardized tests are fucking ridiculous. Oh my god. That's one of the
things that made me leave that made me not want to come back to the profession was that I noticed no matter what state I worked in, it was always just give me good test results and not actually preparing the kids that I cared about for a good future.
Exactly. And on top of that, the tests they come up with are fucking laughable. I would give anything to be in one of these people's meetings where they come up with these ridiculous test ideas. Like, for example, the test that we're having to take, like a standardized math test in 3rd grade, the PM1, PM2, and PM3. The PM1 has all of the information that the PM3 has. But the problem is they take the PM1 at the beginning of the year and they test them on shit that they don't learn until throughout the fucking year. At the beginning of the year, and then the middle of the year, and then the end of the year. It's just like, why would you test like that? Anyone who's been in the classroom for more than 10 seconds will understand you take a test on shit that you've been taught. So these standards up to about September, October, we'll test you on these standards. Now, all the standards plus the ones you learn up to fucking, February, March, we'll test you on those. And then in June, we'll test you on everything. Like, what the fuck, bro? Like, who comes up with these You know what, man? I'm sorry if I'm yapping, but it's a conspiracy.
No, it's a good topic.
I appreciate it. It's a conspiracy. The person who came up with that test, I guarantee you, the only reason they are successful is because the statistics look good. They're like, oh, look at him. These students are growing. They're growing throughout the year. Yes, it's because we're fucking teaching the material that you're testing on. And now they're able to know this shit, and now they're able to do better on the goddamn test. Basically. Gracious. It's so ridiculous.
I love teaching, the act of teaching, fostering the future of our country. I love it.
Same.
The role, the position, the job of teaching, just like anything else, was just follow the money trail. Anything else, and that was a hard pill to swallow. That, like, I was just essentially going to be teaching to a test that I know wasn't the best for the kids that I had in my class.
Yeah.
And it just didn't feel good.
Yeah.
Doing it over and over.
Definitely. And I tell you what, man, if this YouTube thing ever takes off, if this Twitch thing ever takes off, that's tough. I'm gonna have to go on and say, now I wouldn't do that. I worked too hard to become a goddamn teacher. I would stay a teacher. I just wouldn't get as stressed out as I do over it now. I guarantee you that. I wouldn't fucking get anywhere near as stressed out as I do over teaching now. I wouldn't. What did you think about, I know I keep changing topics, but what did you think about people saying that streaming was like a soul-sucking job and it was like comparable to like an office job, or it was worse than an office job? What did you think about that?
Just like with anything, do what you love and you will be happy.
Yeah.
And I feel like some people go into streaming thinking that's just, I get to play video games and I make money. And you and I are predisposed to streaming because we're used to being surrounded by 30 to 40 individuals at any given point and trying to manage them, especially you with the younger ones.
Exactly.
So to us, it's more natural, so we enjoy it more. But a lot of people hit that wall of, oh my gosh, I have to moderate my own chat. I have to entertain 30 to 40 people at any given point.
Yeah.
Get over the hurdle of not having people in chat initially and feeling like nobody cares about my content or my content is bad because I don't have people yet. It's a lot more emotionally and socially demanding than people make it, like, perceive it to be. And then they get in that position and they're like, oh gosh, this is so sucking and terrible. And it's like, well, you didn't do it because you loved it. You do it because you thought it was an easy way to make money.
Yeah.
Like, one of the things that also made me not want to return to teaching was I was able to do things in teaching, like do like little fundraisers or do like after school events, stuff that was good for my community. But the channels that I have opened in terms of networking with Twitch and streaming and YouTube creation in general has allowed me to raise more money for charity than I ever did as a teacher. So to me, I will always be happy and fulfilled because I'm leaving the world in a better place than when I'm going to leave it.
Yeah.
So I feel happy and fulfilled streaming because, not only just from the fact that I'm predisposed through teaching to handle a big group of people and entertain them and teach them things at the same time, but also I'm still doing good. Whereas like that used to be the act of literally teaching, and this one is like, I can do events like every other month, sometimes every month, to raise money for good causes.
Yeah.
I think people just don't enjoy it and think it's an easy way to make money. So
definitely, and in terms of comparing it to like an actual like job where you go like an office job or a fucking or teaching, for example. Now, I will say this: I never want to. And that's why I have I'm not trying to plug her. I'm not trying to plug her in. I'm not even gonna say the name of my second channel. I don't want to plug my shit on here. But that's why I have a second channel, so I don't ever get burnt out on Dead by Daylight. I can't imagine, because there are times where I just do not feel like playing this goddamn game because I don't feel like I want to play something else like WWE 2K or Battlefield or some Apex, whatever. I couldn't imagine having to wake up and having to stream this shit for 10 to 12 hours a day. I couldn't imagine that shit. I would never want to do that. I wouldn't want to do that. But at the same time, I think it is at the very least better than office jobs, simply because you get to set your own schedule, etc., etc., etc. You get to set your own schedule. Now, I would never, and I don't know how you feel about this, but I would never do YouTube or Twitch streaming full time. I would never do it because it's not a stable career. There's no 401k in fucking YouTube or Twitch. There's no fucking, it's either you're on or you're off. Like if everyone just woke up one day and said, hey, fuck this motherfucker Dukhed, I don't want to watch his dumbass videos anymore. I hate his obnoxious ass intro, and on top of that, he's a biased motherfucker. I'm not watching this motherfucker anymore. Then my money's gone. Everything, my way of making money is gone. So I would never do streaming as a career, no matter how successful I get on here. Like even if I get to like hundreds of thousands of subs, if I get there, I'm never gonna fucking get you to do this shit as a career. And someone can hack me, I can get fucking canceled, because I've said shit, I continuously say shit that will get me goddamn canceled. So like it's just not a very stable career in my opinion. I would never do this shit full time. I just can't do it. I can't do it. What about you? Would you ever do, if you like, because I know you're monetized, would you ever, if you got to where you were making a really good size of money, you're able to pay all your bills and have a lot left over, would you do streaming full time, or would you always have something to fall back on?
For the same reasons that I in terms of the lack of security with it, like we talked about earlier, teaching's already becoming less and less stable.
Yeah.
So not that worrying about being a public figure. As a teacher, you're already a public figure. If you say or do something bad in the community, that still comes back on you if you're a teacher. So once again, it's something I'm predisposed to.
Yeah.
Honestly, I've always just, like I said earlier, I just want to make the world a better place than when I left it, and having access to play in charity tournaments, do singular events like subathons, except for like an animal foundation or something like that. That is something I've never been able to do in my life, and it is one of the most fulfilling things I've ever been able to do in my life. So if I could, make money and be comfortable, as well as continue to give back in every way that I can, I don't know what sounds better.
Okay, that's what's up. Okay, that's good. You say you have DVD tournaments. When's the next one of those DVD? I might have to go and show up there, bro. I might have to go ahead and beat somebody's ass real quick. When's the next one of those DVD tournaments?
Really, what happens with that is that someone in the community with a charity that's very, very personal to them. Like the last one I played in was Chloe Dardashian's. Okay. And that was for the Jed Foundation, because that's mental health awareness. That's something that's very important to her as a person. So she ran the event for the charity she cared about. Then she invited people in from the community. So usually what happens is they pick team captains, and I was a team captain, and then I can reach out and pick people to be on my team, which is usually 4 or 5 people depending. So either it's one of those things where you either get to know those people to become a team captain yourself, or get to know people, that way they pick you for their team. That's essentially how that stuff works. Okay,
that's good. That's a noble cause. I'm glad to hear that y'all are doing good like that, man. That's what's up. I wouldn't expect less from a former teacher. I wouldn't expect anything less. I mean, you kind of have to have a giving heart if you were are or will be a teacher, you have to have a giving heart, in my opinion. So yeah, I expect nothing less. But that's what's up, bro. That's what's up, man. I know I've been yapping. Just let me know. Let me know when you like, hey, bro, I'm moving on. Just let me know. I'm cool right now. I'm good. I have time, but let me know.
We can go into like any like final closing feelings, thoughts, anything, because we've been talking for about an hour, and that'd be like a good capstone for like any sort of like video you or I want to make.
Okay, cool. You want to give those now?
Yeah. Honestly, like I said, or like we discussed in the video,
Yeah.
there's definitely not a drama going on
Yeah.
at all. I think that no matter how biased or things like may come off or whatever, at the very most, you're very, very entertaining.
Appreciate that.
My community thinks you're hilarious. Like, I know it's not your intention to be comedic, but you said your intention was at least to ham it up, to be entertaining.
It is my intention to be comedic. I'm trying to make people laugh. I am. I'm glad that they think I'm entertaining. I think they think I'm hilarious. I appreciate that. Because like that's like at the end of the day, that's all this is. I want to entertain people. And imbue a little bit of my personality here or there, and some of my knowledge that I have. But at the end of the day, I'm trying to entertain people, bro. But I appreciate that, man. You think I'm entertaining, your community thinks I'm entertaining. I appreciate that. I really do.
Devious and evil is like just a statement that my community says. Like, they just love that to death.
I know. I see, man. I see. When I said it in the video, like, believe it or not, like I don't get on this mic start yapping. Like, I have like a roadmap of what I want to. I don't ever write my talking points down, but I was like, you know what? Let me say something ridiculous, like fucking devious. I actually said, I'm gonna say devious and evil here. So that might tickle some people, but I'm glad y'all. You should make some shirts, bro. You should make some shirts with devious and evil on it. You should.
There's a design. I can send it to you. We have one.
Okay,
it's like in like little metal writing. It's cute.
That's what's up, bro. That's what's up. But are you still giving your final thoughts? Or you ready for mine now?
I think I'm good. I just wanted to like know that like when we cross paths, because either I reacted or like we met on Twitter or something with like any creator, it's like one of the best things about doing this is that I get to like have that pulse on the community itself and get to interact with new people. I met Kaiser's work and all that. Yeah. I met that through doing this.
Yeah, I've seen him in your conversation. Yep.
I don't know. It's just a nice and wonderful thing to be able to meet new people, and even if we don't agree on how we perceive the game,
mm-hmm.
like, it's all entertainment, and we wouldn't react to something that's like not quality, or we wouldn't do like a sit down like this if their stuff wasn't good quality. So we should definitely like support each other,
definitely,
and realize the inherent quality and effort at the very least of what we do.
Definitely, I appreciate that, and I watch your videos. I do watch your videos, and I appreciate that, man. And my final thoughts are: do all of you who said that this was drama, do you see how civil we are, even though we disagree about Dead by Daylight? That is how everyone should be in their day-to-day life, even like with shit as big as politics. If you're fucking a Trump supporter or your friend, you can have a friend that is some kind of fucking Biden or Bernie Sanders supporter. At the end of the day, just discuss your ideas. Don't just jump to start insulting fucking people and just jump to like, okay, well, no, this motherfucker thinks like this, I'm not going to talk to them. You should interact with people, get to know them, get to understand why they think the way they do. You may learn something, you may come away with something, but just look at how civil we were. That's how y'all should interact with each other in the comment section of videos. When you don't agree with what's being said, don't start attacking people, calling people fucking names. Fucking actually discuss and articulate your ideas. And I'm not gonna say we can make the world a better place, but at the very least, people will be more pleasant, if that makes any sense. But I do want to say I appreciate you for reacting to my videos, dude. I really do. I like when I saw that, cause where I came from, man. My friends only used to watch my videos, bro. My friends only. my friend only. I used to have one view. If my video ever got 20 views, it's because every one of those motherfuckers was me. Clicking on the video constantly, seeing if it had any likes, seeing if it had any views. So like, and the way I found out that you reacted to my videos, actually someone mentioned my name in Choi. And Choi's react to your react. And I was like, bro, What Duckhead? Is there another motherfucker in this community named Duckhead? They can't be talking about me. And then they spelled it.
Was saying something really killer biased, and somebody in my chat was like, "Are they pulling a Duckhead?"
yeah, exactly. And he said it, and I was like, "Bro, that's crazy. My content is being reacted to by people. That is crazy. That's very humbling, and I appreciate you, bro, and I appreciate all my subscribers for making that possible. I really do. And you are welcome to react to any of my videos. Someone said, "Oh, bro, you should copyright strike." I'm like, nah, fuck that. I'm not fucking copyright striking anybody, bro. I'm not doing that shit. Ain't that goddamn serious. You are welcome to react to any of my videos, bro. I want you to keep reacting to my videos, man. I like that. It's really cool, bro. It's really cool, and I appreciate that, man. Just know that I appreciate
it. And vice versa. Like anything I say, I know it's only like at this point it's like 3 days a week that I do independent content, like independent commentary, and then it's like match reviews and the reacts for the rest. But any of that's welcome too.
Okay, yeah, definitely. I appreciate that, dude. This is a nice conversation. All right, man. You take it easy, bro.
You too. Thank you.
All right, hell yeah.